You just have to watch them. Like, just stand there and watch them. Just observe them.
I feel like Ralph is always on the mode. Huh?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on? Huh?
Huh?
His body language always says, huh?
Gibbons is always just like, trot, 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 trot. I look hot. I'm sexy and I know it.
Doom, doo doom, doom, doom.
Boom. Let's snoots, snoots, boom. Let's snoot.
Welcome to Let's Boop Snoots.
Welcome.
Welcome. My name is Vero.
And I'm Heidi.
And what are we doing today? Booping.
We're booping. We're booping. We're grab bag booping. We got a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A boopin', a mishmash of boops.
A mishmash of boops.
But before we start the show, we would like to thank Holy Raw Nutrition for supporting Let's Boop Snoots. Holy Raw is a raw food service located in Chelsea, Quebec. Their products are sourced from ethical local farms and butchers to ensure freshness, quality, and peace of mind. They have raw blends that come in 1 to 2 pound containers ranging from chicken, beef, duck, turkey, and many more. Holy Raw also provides dehydrated treats and all-natural supplements to help support your pet's overall well-being. You can find them on their website at holyrawnutrition.com. Holy Raw as in HOLIRAW nutrition.com. Thank you, Holy Raw.
And also a big, big thank you to Stray Dog Brewing Company for supporting Let's Boop Snoots. They're located at 501 La Colle Way, Unit 4 in Orleans, Ontario. Stray Dog Brewing Company is open 7 days a week, Mondays through Fridays from 12 to 7 p.m. with extended hours on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays until 9. Weekend hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. They are a pet-friendly brewery, so you can bring your snoots. They also host great events throughout the week and offer brewery tours. Make sure to try some of their in-house beers, including Oatmeal Stout, Tropical Knockout, One Hop Wonder, and many more. You can find them on their Instagram at Stray Dog Brewing Co. and their website www.straydogbrewing.ca. Thank you, Stray Dog Brewing Company, for supporting Let's Boopity Snoots.
And you can find their details, all our wonderful sponsors' details, in the episode's description.
Yes. All right. So let's kick her off. Let's reach into the bag of little doggy
little
tidbits
doggy
that we
topics.
have. Little doggy topics. This is going to shock everybody deeply, but I'm going to start with a story. A story?
Not a story.
Heidi's got a story? Since when?
Why are your stories way more interesting than mine?
They are not.
They are.
They're not. They're not.
I'm like, I walked Ralph today. And that's it.
And I'm like, it was raining dogs outside. And I picked up 3 of them. No, this story is going to help bring us into our first topic of the day. So this past weekend, I was visiting a friend in the T-Dot. And we were at my friend's family member's house who was hosting a 3-year-old's birthday party at the time. So there was like friends, there were kids, there was family members. And anyways, one of her family members was coming out of town with her dog. And the family member who was hosting the party also had a dog. Anyways, this is sort of like a little bit of a side story, but the dog who lived at that house, he's like a super cute little like a boxer mix. Like he's very, very adorbs, and his name is Archie. But Archie was real under the weather. He got the kennel cough, and they think at the park where they walk him, because they're pretty good about having the vaccinations and stuff like that, but they're not really sure where he got it from because they didn't kennel him and they don't really play with a lot of other dogs. Anyways, I digress. And so this other family member was coming into town with her Dalmatian. He was a little bit of a chonk. He was a little bit of a chonker, a chonky chonk.
Tubs.
And it was Toronto, and it was like 45 degrees with the Humidex. And there was a lot going on, kids running everywhere. Anyways, and this poor Dalmatian came in and like to the house because was just like seeking like, an escape from the heat. and there were all of their vents with the AC were all like in doorways, and there was like kids running around this dog, and I'm like, the owner was distracted and not really paying attention, and even I went to go walk through a doorway, and he came and just plunked down right in the middle of the doorway, and I was like, dude. And then he's like literally like sleeping on top of the vent, like, ah. And
It's so nice.
it's so nice, but dude, you are like 100% gonna get stepped on, and I'm getting the vibes by looking at you that you don't want people running past you, or like you could just tell that this dog was approaching too much, and we all know where that heads to. So I was like trying to keep an eye on this poor dog, and but anyways, with all the kids running by and everything, you could see the Elvis Presley lip coming up, and anyways, no, ultimately nobody got hurt and everything was fine. But that brings us into our first topic, which we wanted to just touch back on: body language.
Doggy body language.
Dog bods. Dog bods. We should make a t-shirt. It's called dog bods.
Dog bods? What would be the image?
It would be like the same dog with all different like postures and stuff that we're gonna talk about today, and we'll call it dog bods. Ooh. Why do I always come up with my best ideas on the show and like never execute like any of them?
Oh, we're gonna get t-shirts.
Yeah, I think we should. Let's boop snoots. Let's boop bods.
Boop. Imagine if we went around booping. I guess it would be doggy bods, but human bods. Boop.
Boop. Wasn't there like TikTok videos where people were like, if humans acted like dogs, and it was like them like literally acting. I think we talked about this once before, but pretty hilarious. Anyways, doggy body language, everybody.
So what were you seeing in this Dalmatian that you felt that he was gonna snap, literally?
So very stiff. He was he would like super react when someone came by, so like a snapping of the neck, the Elvis Presley coming up a little bit, and then a lot of like yawning and a lot of like licking of the lips.
Ooh, okay.
And I was like, he gonna bite, he gonna
yeah,
he gonna chomp Snoots. Anyways, so that's what I was noticing, and
nobody else was.
Nobody else was, and again, like even when you think about even when we started this podcast, and I remember talking with Evan Doggett, one of our dog trainers here in Canada, who was so gracefully came on our show, but even that I was like, I'm pretty good at reading my dogs now, but like I've gotten better since that show, because I'm like, I'm going to make a point of watching my dog and like what he does with other dogs and stuff like that. So I feel like I've got a much better read on my dog since then, but other people's dogs, like still like some yes, some no. You just got to keep watching them and see. And it literally, I remember Evan saying that to me. You just have to watch them. Like just stand there and watch them. Just observe them.
I feel like Ralph is always on the mode. Huh?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Huh?
His body language always says, huh?
Gibbons is always just like, trot, 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 trot. I look hot. I'm sexy and I know it. That's what Gibbons like. Yeah, I'm talking about you, bud. He's sitting here with me and looking at me like, come on, you're embarrassing me, Mom.
But yeah, I am.
Yes. So I'll start and go through a couple of different things. So the first one is the tail, of course. There's a lot of things to look at with a tail. You want to know what it's doing, which direction is it going in, and what does it necessarily mean. So if, for instance, I'm getting a lot of this information from the American Kennel Club website, and it starts with tail wagging, and it starts out by saying that tail wagging seems like an obvious body language signal, and that people assume that a dog is happy if their tail is wagging. But it is very, very wrong. The tail wagging can mean like a whole bunch of different things. All a wagging tail means is that a dog is emotionally aroused,
Yes.
but it could be excitement or it could be frustration, and you don't,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that you have to put all the pieces together. So like I'm going to go through piece by piece here, and you sort of have to look at it all to be like, okay, this is how I feel my dog is feeling right now.
I was
So
actually watching, sorry to
no,
cut you
go
off,
ahead.
Heidi. I was
No.
watching on Netflix the first episode of The Hidden Life of Pets, I believe.
Hmm.
And the first dog and owner that they show is this guy who likes to do oh my god, what do you call it? Not cliff jumping, but he hikes up a mountain and then he jumps off with a parachute.
Yeah, it's base jumping.
Base jumping. Base
Hmm.
jumping. Yes.
Base jumping.
Base jumping. And
Jump
he
at a
has
base.
jump at a base, man. He attaches his dog to a harness at some point and he jumps with the dog. And it's hard to say like if the dog is actually enjoying it because he's like, oh yeah, you can tell that he enjoys it. And I'm watching the dog and I'm like, I'm not really sure that means that. But, and then they land and the owner says, oh, he's wagging his tail. And in my head,
Hmm.
I'm like, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's happy.
Exactly.
He might be like stressed out or
Exactly.
nervous, or maybe
Yeah.
he's happy that he's finally like on the ground. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. And like
So,
this is really interesting like info that I'm even reading on here, because it even gets into like breed specific, like what typical breeds do with their tail, which I didn't think was like even a thing, but it's true when you think about it. Like my little Weimaranas here with their docked tails, like it's not necessarily going to be as obvious. I call it their little nubbins. It's so funny.
nubbins.
Their
Gibbon's
little
got a
nubbins is,
nubbin.
you got a little gibbon nubbin. But yeah, so wagging tail doesn't necessarily mean they're happy, and you need to think about the direction. And they were saying that there was a study here that recently showed that dogs tend to wag their tails more to the right when they feel positive about something,
Ooh.
and that they wag more to the left when it's something a bit more negative. And then there's like the helicopter tail where it's spinning in a circle, and it said without question that is a happy wag.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
It's like, yeah, way too much. And it's so funny because like even my dogs are curled up into their little bagel. Like if my husband walks in, they stay still very still in the bagel, but their little nubbins go like like hits the bed or the couch. Bum, 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 bum,
That's
bum.
cute. Very cute.
You can even tell like as soon as they hear somebody moving or to come down the stairs, they're like, oh my god, somebody's coming to love me. It should be like Jurassic Park with like a cup of water on the table, and all of a sudden it's just like ripples in the water. Somebody's coming. So anyway, so it just said, like look at the position of the dog's tail relative to the ground that they hold, and then it will give you like clues about their emotional state. So they're saying the higher the tail, like the more assertive the dog is. And if
Mhm.
their tail is pointing down to the ground or even tucked between their legs, that's obviously like fear and stress. And dogs with their tails held up like a flag are feeling confident and perhaps even a bit aggressive. And relaxed dogs hold their tails in a very neutral position, obvi. But it says neutral depends on the breed. So it said like chow chows have tails that naturally curl over their backs,
Right.
whereas breeds like the Italian Greyhound have a very low neutral tail position.
Mhm.
And then obviously like you just have to get to know your dog and like watch. And I feel like people can get certain cues like that. Like it's pretty obvious, like when you look even at the videos of like people coming home to their dogs and the dogs going berserk, you see the helicopter tail and stuff, and obviously
Yeah.
they're happy, like right.
Is there a position to the tail?
We'll have to,
If
that's
the
what you
tail
should,
isn't a question mark.
it should be, you should make a t-shirt that says like Ralph Mods. It's like, huh?
It's like the same face. Happy, aggressive, assertive,
Yeah,
confused.
yeah. And then like food in the room, and then like there's not a picture of them there. Oh my god. Um Yes. So the next one that they talk about here is the raised hackles. So that's like the portion
Mm.
that's sort of like on their back. So sometimes like it's kind of like it almost looks like a scared cat, like when their hair stands straight up, but it happens like in these two very like distinct spots, like almost on the shoulder blades, like of the dog.
Yeah.
And so some like again, this often gets misinterpreted as like the dog's like being aggressive, but they're not. It just means that they're on alert.
Yeah.
Like
There's
so
some sort
it's
of excitement, but it's not
exactly.
necessarily negative or positive.
Yeah, so it's a sign that the dog is aroused, but yeah, not necessarily in a negative way. And that they could be stressed or excited or interested in something. Like you never know. Like there's it said it's like goosebumps in people. Sometimes you just get
Yeah.
the goosies and you're like, whoa. And you're like, what is it? Is it the weather? Is it somebody told you like a chilling tale? Is it nails on a chalkboard? And you're like, ugh. You just never know. You have
Yeah.
to look at the rest of the context. Right?
Right.
Right. The next part that they talk about here is posture. A dog's posture. So it says here that like a dog's weight distribution can tell you a lot about their mood and intention. So if you think about a cowering dog that's hunched towards the ground, that is a sign of fear or stress, obvi. But the dog
Yes.
might be trying to get away from something, and so the posture makes them look smaller. So and it's like just them being like, yeah, like also like almost like submissive. So oh yeah, and then it talks about that. It says like they can even like if it's that they're trying to like cower or like get away from something or not look like a threat, that they can even roll onto their back, exposing their belly, which is like obviously like a total submission. Like I
Yeah.
submit,
I submit.
I submit. And but again, like people think that this might be like a dog that wants a belly rub and that they're relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like it can also be a sign of like stress and anxiety. So don't go and like
Ooh.
rubbing the dog's belly like who's like, oh my god, what's happening, I'm just gonna look small over here, and then you're like, you want a belly rub? It's gonna be
Snap.
like, no. Yeah, exactly. um and like one of the like easiest things to like read on a dog is the play bow. So that's like when they
Oh
put the front
yeah.
paws on front of them and like bow. It's almost like, what did they call it in yoga, like downward dog?
Downward dog.
Yeah, that's in yoga. You're just having a nice stretch. For a dog, he's like ready to play. That's why all the videos of like the people doing yoga and the dog's just like, yeah, all right,
Yay,
you ready to
playtime.
play? And
It's so
so that's,
funny working out
yeah.
with your dog.
Oh yes. Oh yes, it is. And then another one they talk about is the paw raise. So in pointing breeds like the English Setter, the paw raise is part of their pointing behavior where the dog like indicates a nearby prey. But
Hmm.
um, outside of this context, a raised paw often means that a dog is uncertain and or may even feel a bit insecure, which
Ralph,
is,
I've seen Ralph do that while he's smelling around in the yard.
oh really?
And I imagine that he's smelling something that's like he's uncertain about or
Yeah.
something that smells bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, ooh. Like his
Yeah.
paw goes up and he's like, ooh.
Yeah. It's
No.
like if it's kind of like humans. Like if you see something, like we kind of like jerk our hands to our chest, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, like when you
Ew.
recoil, like, oh, I'm not sure about that. And those sort of things. Yeah. I mean, like my dogs, you can see them sniffing at the air, and their dog, they're a pointing breed, obviously the Weimaranas, and so yeah, you can see them point, and it's funny.
Aw.
Just another, again, here I digress yet again, but when our buddy Mark got his German short-haired pointer, I can remember going over to see the puppy for one of the first times, and we were like in the backyard, and I saw the puppy, and it's all fun. We're seeing them visiting the puppy and stuff, and then we were just like chatting like on his back deck and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like Mark, who's like this like totally tall dude, was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, when he's like, "She's pointing." Look, it's her first point. And Ray had her little paw up in the air. He's like,
Oh.
I'll never forget that. It's so
Oh,
funny.
that's too cute.
She's pointing.
Her first point.
So funny. So funny. I was there for Ray's first point, everybody.
Aw.
Write it down in her baby book. All right. So next we move on to facial expressions.
Mm.
And this is where, again, it's like a lot easier with your own dog. And
Yes.
I've told this story so many times before about Vero and her Wiggum. But I remember her showing me the video of like her taking a video of him, but he's like clearly pissed, but I couldn't tell, like, because I don't know him that well. But like, and she's taking a video, and as she gets closer, he just all of a sudden just goes, ah, and like snaps at the.
He was like a puppy, though. I think he
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
she gets closer. She's coming closer.
Yes.
Camera.
Yes. Yeah. So I was just saying that like dogs have similar facial features as people, but they don't necessarily use them in the same way. So yawning. So people yawn when they're tired, when they're bored, and dogs usually yawn when they're stressed. So if you see your dog like repeat like yawning, like it's not like,
Something's
oh,
up.
yeah. It and again, so like you have to look at the context, which I'll get to in a second. But anyways, it was saying that dogs use yawning to calm themselves in tense situations and to calm others, including their owners. And she says that yawning at your dog to provide comfort at stressful moments, like a vet visit. But don't be surprised if your dog yawns back. Just as yawning, and I remember hearing about this. Like we had to do this speech once, and like a assignment in an English class, and somebody did their speech on yawning, and even saying the word yawning. I bet you I'm making Vero yawn like any
You
second.
are.
Just saying. And when you see someone yawn, it makes you yawn, and like it's very contagious, and it even like crosses like human and animal species barriers. So if you like yawn in your dog's face, chances are they can yawn. Just like if you watch your dog yawning repeatedly, it's totally going to make you yawn too. And I'm going to stop saying yawn before I start yawning. I've made it this far. I'm feeling good about a no yawn boobity snoots. So the next little bit that they go on to here is the lip licking. So if you like, Vero was very smart to ask me, what did this dog look like, you know, at the beginning at this party that I was at on the weekend, and what was I noticing? So I said lip licking, if you remember. So it's another dog body language that people often misinterpret. They think that like dogs are licking their lips after a delicious meal, which they do, but they also do it when they're feeling very anxious and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you need to keep an eye on that. Lip licking is not just a food oriented thing or any of that. So another confusing facial expression is smiling. So dogs do smile, and usually you can probably recognize it in your own dog. But for somebody who's not familiar, it can sometimes look terrifying. So whenever dogs bare their teeth, it's like people think like it's an aggressive like act, right? And I can remember showing, like, I have a picture of Gibbon where his face is upside down, and so his top lips are like you know, like flopped down because he's upside down, hanging, and like all of his teeth are out, and it's very clearly like a big goofy like upside down smile. And I can remember showing it to my old boss at my last job, and she was like, oh my god, he looks vicious. And I was like, what? Like, he's very clear, like it's like he's upside down, like number one. And like, anyways, but I was like, that's exactly what this made me think of, because anytime a dog shows its teeth, it's like the dog's like, you're gonna get it. Somebody gonna get to hurt real bad.
So when you say smile, you mean they're actually like curling their lips?
Yeah, well, like I find like the corners of their mouths get stretched out, and sometimes just that, like it brings the lips up, and like their teeth are baring, right? Like the only way to understand the difference between both is like if a dog has its teeth baring and they're growling or snarling, that's probably a bit more aggressive.
Yeah. Can dogs snarl with their mouth open?
Well, sometimes it like opens and closes, like kind of like so they might be like like
Yeah.
the
I guess I
growling.
imagine them with their mouth closed.
Yeah, well, like they can growl with their mouth closed, but they can. I've seen it where they're fully baring their teeth and snarling and growling. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So
Oh yeah,
something to oh yeah. And again, like if you're at the park and your dog's having the time of his life and he comes back to you and he's got like a very big toothy smile with his tongue hanging out the side of his mouth looking up at you like, "Mommy, I love you." Like obviously he's like happy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the context.
Yes. Yeah.
So the next one here is eyes. So you can learn a lot about your dog by looking at the eyes.
Hmm.
So this here it says a dog's eyes can be soft or hard. So soft eyes have relaxed lids and sometimes look like the dog is like squinting, and they indicate that the dog is calm or happy. And then the opposite is hard eyes, where the eyes seem to go cold, and these indicate like a negative state of mind. And you'll know them when you see them. And the dog might be guarding a toy or feeling aggressive. A hard stare, where the dog looks intently at something, especially for a long time, usually signals like a threat.
Mm-hmm.
So eye contact is very important. It's a very important signal for dogs. And just like the hard stare can be a precursor to aggression, like looking away is meant to calm a situation. So it's really interesting. Like when I can remember getting Gibbs and like, they look at you and you're like, oh, he's looking at me. But it can also like be a way to assert your dominance with the dog. Like never, like it says here, look away to calm a situation. But I was told, no, don't like make them break the stare first, because it's like
Yeah.
you're winning. Like you're like, no, I'm the alpha here. Don't stare me down.
Yeah.
Like you're like you bound down to my power type of thing. And it's very like, like it's so easily misinterpreted as well. It's just like all these different like doggy parts and what they mean and what they're doing. But anyways, and again, like you can tell like what, like if anyone who's seen like a dog's like intent stare, like whether it be like I don't want to say the S word here, but the rodents with the big bushy tails run around outside, it's going to make them all excited. I'm not going to say it, but if you've seen them stare at one of those, like like it's like again, like that's another context that we'll get to. So another part here that it talks about is the whites of the eyes are another key indicator. So it says known as whale eye. So when a dog shows the whites of the eyes, it's a signal that they're feeling anxious or stressed in a situation. You might see them when you make your dog feel uncomfortable, like when you pat your dog on the head, or when they're afraid that someone will steal a bone or a toy. Or, as you can see on Gibbon's Instagram, when you're introducing them to cats. Like, so
Oh,
I brought him over to my mom's house with her two cats, and this
oh
was
yeah.
before we had Lou. And there's a photo of him where I put him in place, like on this little carpet that she has at the bottom of her stairs. And there was a cat on the staircase and another cat walking past him. And you should have seen him. It was like eyes like to this way, like in the eyes looking the other way, like slowly, like he was just like, I'm surrounded. What are these beasts going to do?
What is happening?
Yeah, but he held his place and he did very well. So he did pretty good. So
Ooh.
putting all of those things together helps you decipher the dog body language. So, I gave several examples throughout going through these different things. If you come home from work and your dog's doing the helicopter tail and tongue out and panting, like that's another thing that they didn't mention, is panting is another sign of stress.
Yeah.
Or it could be like, again, putting it into context, if you're all sitting out in the backyard in a Toronto 45-degree weather and your dog's panting, he's probably just hot. Maybe a little bit stressed, maybe he's getting a little dehydrated and is like uncomfortable, but
Mm-hmm.
hot first. And then you got to keep an eye on him and be like, what's going on here? If a dog's laying in a doorway at a children's birthday party with children running back and forth and he's very hot and he's panting and licking his lips and like starting to lift the lip a little bit and maybe snarl or jerk his head at like any sudden movements passing by, that to me said, and again, the tail still not wagging at all, he's getting uncomfortable and something bad could happen. So remove them from the situation or remove whatever the stimulus is that's driving them nuts. If you guys can remember a few episodes back, we had a day with our new dog, Lou, who doesn't have a lot of training under her belt. She came from, we think, maybe a potentially abusive situation. She was still like fairly new to us. It was like within the first month and a half to 2 months of having her. And again, we had to get together an Easter dinner here, kids running back and forth through the hallways. it was way too much stimulus for her. And in fairness to me, I was not paying attention, and she nipped at one of the kids when they were running by. Luckily, it was my kid. But it's just, again, like, you have to look at the overall context, but just keep in mind that those certain things that you think mean certain things, like, again, like the panting, if you're indoors, like in an air conditioned home, and the dog's panting, then like look around and figure out what could be stressing him out, like right now. Like, is it a stranger that's petting a little bit too much? Is it somebody's, like, there's a noise that's making them uncomfortable? Like, you sort of need to, like, really just look at the context and look at it all together. If the dog's like super stiff, like that was like another one. And when we had our interview with Emma from Walk With Me the other day, her just using certain terminology to describe like dog bods. I remember when we did our last episode on this dog bods. When you see a dog go stiff, like that, again, doesn't necessarily mean aggressiveness. It just means like, ooh, there's like a shift in winds here. Maybe this could be like he's like, they're excited and they're ready to play, and they might be getting ready to do the play bow. It could be that they're not getting along. So just watch for the little tiny, like the ears, the tail, the body. Are they puffing their chest? Are they bowing like away? Are they cowering away? Is the tail up? Is the tail down? What is around the dog? What's the dog's mouth doing? What do the eyes look like? Are they like intense and like staring? And just try to piece it all together. And I know it's easier said than done, but when you are in a context that has like super a lot of stimulus, you really should be focused on your dog's body language and how they're feeling about it. And it's easy because usually if you're in a situation with a lot of stimulus, you're usually distracted by all of it too. Like at a kid's birthday party, you got to bring the cake out. You got to make sure kids aren't like fighting with each other and touching your whole house with their cake hands, and you're busy doing like your stuff too, but like you want it to be safe for everyone, and you don't want your dog biting someone, because then you can potentially kiss your doggy goodbye, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
And if you're not sure, put your dog in the crate.
Exactly.
Or in a separate room.
Exactly.
Yes.
Put them in another room. Yes. I wanted to put and some people like find that cruel, and it's like, no, what's going to be cruel is
you're doing them a favor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll settle. They'll eventually like rest again. This is why if you do a bit of training, the place command is great.
Mm-hmm.
But be safe. Be safe with your doggos. Yes.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Westminster Dog Show.
Oh, yes!
It was on June 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the winner, Heidi?
Yes, I
did. Trumpet, a bloodhound. He's so cute.
Trumpet is so cute.
He looks big.
He does look big. He's a very...
Yeah.
I can't wait to see my neighbors who have one, so I can be like, hey, did you hear about Trumpet?
Trumpet won.
Because they have like a full-on like big, like a dog that looks very similar to Trumpet, except her name is Ivy.
No.
Ivy's our neighbor.
Ivy. So, of the 7 finalists in their individual group, here's who won. So for the hound, it was Trumpet the Bloodhound. Mm-hmm. For the toy group, it was Hollywood the Maltese. Non-sporting, Winston the French Bulldog. I actually wasn't sure that they could actually compete. French Bulldogs. The herding group, River the German Shepherd. Sporting group, Belle the English Setter. Working group, Striker the Samoyed. And Terrier, MM the Lakeland. The Lakeland.
The Lakeland.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah.
Are you Googling it?
I'm going to Google it. Lakeland Terrier. Big dog in a small package.
What is it called again?
A Lakeland Terrier. Oh. He just looks like a terrier.
I don't understand the difference between the terriers, if I'm being honest. There are like a lot of different terriers.
There's the Wire Fox Terrier, the Airedale Terrier, Patterdale Terrier, Welsh Terrier, and the Lakeland Terrier,
Oh
at
my God.
least.
I would totally get a Potterdale Terrier and I would call it Potter. And I'd
There's
say,
the Border
Potter.
Terrier, Kerry Blue Terrier, Irish Terrier, Fell Terrier, Norfolk Terrier, Bedlington Terrier, Jack Russell Terrier, Manchester Terrier, and it goes on.
I feel like we're on Forrest Gump. We got fried shrimp. We got steamed shrimp. We got garlic shrimp. We got Cajun shrimp.
And it goes on.
Yes, it does.
So good job, Trumpet.
Way to go, trumpet.
Yay, trumpet! A little trumpet song for you.
I wonder, do you think they play trumpets like when they announce the winner? They should for trumpet.
They should.
I would have demanded it as his owner. I would have been like, you're gonna have trumpets, right? Right?
Trumpet band.
Right?
So let's talk about Little Miss Hazel.
Oh yes.
So Hazel is our backyard neighbor's golden retriever. She is also Ralph's girlfriend.
She is.
She is super cute. There is a picture on her Instagram from 2 weeks ago, and she's so cute. And Ralph looks like super proud in the picture. Like, this is my girlfriend. She's so cute. So her owner told me the other day that she, Hazel, has TMJ.
How do dogs get TMJ?
That's what I thought. That, like, I was like, how does she get?
What is she doing to stress that poor doggy out?
So she said that she's pretty sure the TMJ came from overdoing it with the chuck it ball. It could be. Hazel does like her chuck it ball.
How old is Hazel?
Hazel, I don't believe she's a year old now. I think she's maybe 7 months.
Could be.
So how did she notice that something was wrong with Hazel?
Yes.
So here's what she said. She wasn't picking up her ball, her chuck it ball that she loves, only pawing at it.
Aww.
She cried when the owner tried to open her mouth to take out bunny poo, also known as glossettes or Skittles.
Brown Skittles.
Brown Skittles. Only the brown ones. She said that her lick was more gentle. And speaking of yawning, she wasn't yawning or having her tongue out, and she was eating differently. And she seemed a little bit depressed.
Did she say how they're treating it? Are they getting her a doggy mouth guard?
Super cute.
Because they love those. They like to eat them. I'm looking at Lou right now. Eat them.
Lou would definitely eat it. Lou would steal it and then come eat it beside you. So yeah, she got a mouth guard. So how they're treating it is she's on anti-inflammatory and pain meds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she said that after a day, it seemed to be getting better. But she also thought that Hazel was depressed because Hazel has been in heat for so long. And the vet said that like her lady bits, her genitals are still swollen.
Oh no.
And they said to be careful until that goes down. And it's been so long. So she thought Hazel has to be depressed because she's like missing her doggy friends, not going to the park. Turns out maybe that as well, but she also has TMJ.
I was going to say, it could be a mixture of the two. Poor Hayes.
I know. We miss Hazel. Ralph
Poor
misses Hazel.
Depressed for days. She's probably missing her boyfriend.
I know. Little Ralphie.
Is Ralph depressed? Does he? I bet you he can smell her from the street. She's in
Probably.
heat. He's probably like,
from the backyard.
Let me at Hazel.
My GF. We've seen her on walks a couple of times, but we don't let them get close to each other, which is hard. But I feel like Ralph is getting better at not getting too excited over Hazel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're
Yes.
making progress. We are making progress.
That's good. That's
So
super
I
good.
was thinking for Ralph
Hmm.
to put him in agility training
Oh,
as an outlet for his
crazy energy.
sorcery, energy, his, yeah,
Don't you wish you could bottle it and sell it? I wish I could
yes,
have
or like,
Ralph's energy.
yeah, transfer it to me.
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to be Ralph for one day.
Me too. I would like to
How
be
is it?
Gibbs. I would love to be Gibbs or Lou.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the best. You're like so
It would be the
loved. You get to
best.
go for a walk, get to eat some good food, get some extra
Yes.
treats on top because kids drop stuff and adults drop stuff. And then your grandparents
Nice.
give you all the stuff you're not supposed to have.
Yes. A day in the life of Ralph.
Yes. A day in the life of a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a movie where like a human becomes a dog for a day?
Oh my God.
We need to make
Another
one.
idea, Heidi.
I know. I'm on fire today. Fire! This podcast is lit.
It's lit.
It's lit. No, I think
Lit.
agility would be definitely good for him. I mean, if you decided to try any kind of training, it's definitely going to occupy a lot of his mental and emotional strength.
Yeah, I think so. And it builds like a relationship, right?
Hmm. Do you when you take him, do you ever take him at like weird times to the park and then let him go like up and go down the slide? Like I was started doing that with Lou because she seems so uncoordinated.
Yeah. My boyfriend's been doing it with him.
Like even just like when you're walking through the park, just having them jump up on the park bench.
Mm-hmm.
We have a park across the street with two baseball diamonds, and there's like a very like thin bleacher. It's like a very like thin metal like a bench that they sit on. And so I get the dogs to hop up on that and walk along it like a balancing beam, like they're
Ooh.
gymnasts.
Ooh. I'm gonna start
Hmm.
doing some stuff at the park with Ralph.
Yeah, I want to see if I can get Lou like in the canoe or a boat at the cottage. Gibbs won't do it. Lou canoe.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say. Get Lou in the canoe.
Get
Yes.
Lou in the canoe. A Lou canoe.
A
When
Lou
she eats
canoe.
grass, she's going to be a Lou Moo canoe. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think that's a wrap for today.
Oh, that's a rip.
It's a wrap. And to our listeners, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Let's Boop Snoots. And you can listen to our show on Spotify and iTunes weekly. But before we end the show, make sure to check out Holy Raw Nutrition, a food service located in Chelsea, Quebec. We would like to thank Holy Raw Nutrition for supporting Let's Boop Snoots. Their products are sourced from ethical local farms and butchers to ensure freshness, quality, and peace of mind. They have raw blends that come in 1 to 2 pound containers ranging from chicken, beef, duck, turkey, and many more. Holy Raw also provides dehydrated treats and all natural supplements to help support your pet's overall well-being. I personally order all my food for Ralph from Holy Raw, and I only have great things to say about them, their food, and their staff. Like Ralph had some surf and turf for dinner today. Mm-mm. Who wouldn't like to have some surf and turf?
I want
so
some
we,
surf and turf.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are so thankful to have them as a sponsor, and you can find them on their website at holyrawnutrition.com. Holy Raw as in HOLIRAW nutrition.com. Again, thank you, Holy Raw.
And also a huge thank you to Stray Dog Brewing Company for supporting Let's Boop Snuts. They are located at 501 La Colle Way, Unit 4 in Orleans, Ontario. Stray Dog Brewing Company is open 7 days a week, Mondays through Fridays from 12 to 7 p.m., with extended hours on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays until 9 p.m. Weekend hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. They are a pet-friendly brewery, so bring your snoots. They also host great events throughout the week and offer brewery tours. Make sure to try some of their in-house beers, including Oatmeal Stout, Tropical Knockout, One Hop Wonder, and many more. You can find them on their Instagram at Stray Dog Brewing Co. and their website www.straydogbrewing.ca. Thank you, Stray Dog Brewing Company, for supporting Let's Boop Snoots. Thank you.
And join us next week on Let's Boop Snoots. Boop, boop.